Good morning, people. How are we all today? Desiree, I see you at the airport. You might have to leave suddenly. Oh, very nice. Naughty Step will be fucking waiting for you when you get back. Yeah. Going on holiday when I've got a programme on the go. Yeah. Tut, tut, tut. Right, let's get Facebook on board. Hey. Okay, that's Facebook on board. Good morning, folks. Apparently my notices are going after nuts. Anyway, while we're waiting Facebook getting bored, good morning, folks. As I say, Desiree, I hope you enjoy wherever you're gone. Naughty Steps waiting for you when you get back. If you have to cut out, that is. No excuses, not having any. Morning, lads, Braveheart. Morning, Bruce. Morning, Graham. Morning, Stephen. Morning, Stephen. Morning, Eddie. Morning, Ackies. Mad Monk. Martin. Morning, John. Morning, Desiree. Morning, Jeanette. Morning, Stephen. Stephen Nichols, that is. Stephen Bankier. We've got a few Stephens in this morning. Morning, Julie. Morning, Eddie. Right, let's scroll back down. See if we get any Facebookers in yet. Yeah, they're a bit slow this morning. Morning, Ted Boy. Morning, Lenny. Morning, Robert. You're only one G away from my name. Anyway. Now, folks, I did say I was going to plug Independence Live, and it's slipped my mind a few times. Now, Independence Live, run by Kevin over there, absolutely excellent outlet. You'll get them on YouTube, and you'll get them on a Facebook, and you'll get them on their website as well, and you'll also get a schedule. There's plenty of great programmes. Morning, Chris. Okay, first the Facebookers on this morning, Chris. Hi, wee bird. So, folks, keep an eye on the schedule at Independence Live. They put out some really, really good stuff. The TNT show, for example, is brilliant. Hi, Christina. Hi, look, Indy. Hi, Doug. That's a Facebooker starting to come through the door now. Right. We're made of this at the 100 mark, so let's get this broadcast underway. Now, the main theme today would be cultural trolling in our papers. Now, you'll understand what I mean by cultural trolling as we go through. Okay. Anyway, first up this morning's the Herald, and I will put it up because this one's an SNP bad story. And if I was a reporter and somebody brought this to me, I'd have to tell them to go and bow their head and explain what the problem was. But anyway, here, let's put it up. Right, the Herald has Scottish cancer survivors are waiting 2 years for surgery. Do you think cancer survivors? Hold on, let's take a wee step back here. What does that mean? And when you get into the meat and bones of the story, it tells us that people who have been cured of cancer, and with hundreds of thousands of pounds spent on them by us, the people, through the NHS, free of charge, are having to wait 2 years for cosmetic surgery. Cosmetic surgery. Now, if somebody had brought me that story, I'd have sat them down and explained to them, well, with the pandemic, everything was shut down for a couple of years. People are presenting later with illnesses, which means that they're more severe. And concentrating on curing people is more important at this point in time. That's why we have people waiting long times for what's called non-essential surgery. Because the backlog of people who are now presenting with diseases which would have been easier to cure if they'd presented during the pandemic when they couldn't present, they're now needing the urgent attention. And cosmetic surgery, I don't care what you've got to say about it, it isn't urgent. But this is an SNP bad story. And that's all it is. Because after the pandemic, we know it's going to take a long time. Hi, Barbara. It's going to take a long time to get through the backlog, especially as this backlog is going to be people presenting who are much worse than what they would have been if they could have presented during the pandemic. What I will say about the cancer treatment here in Scotland during the pandemic was it went on. So these people would have got their surgery and got their life-saving treatments. If they've got to wait a wee bit longer for cosmetic surgery, sorry, why it is. Now, my mother died of breast cancer. She opted not to have reconstructive surgery. She opted to take a bra implant from the NHS, which was free. So it's not as if she didn't look normal or things like that for a couple of years while she waited. If she'd wanted the surgery. But as I say, my mother didn't want reconstructive surgery. But she did take an implant for her brassiere, which made her look normal. And these people who want cosmetic surgery on the NHS, they're just going to have to wait. Now, as I say, if I was a reporter and somebody had brought me this story, they'd jump and bow their head and get to fuck. This is just an SNP bad story. Well, actually, it's not really an SNP bad story. It's the reality of having come through a pandemic. Okay. Now, let's move on to the cultural trolling, which is the mainstay all the way through this bloody newspaper headlines today. It's even on the front page of the Herald right here. But I'll put up the Express and then I'll tell you why it's fucking cultural trolling. Okay. So, let's get rid of that. That'll make life easier for me if I take them down as I've shown them. Right. Let's go on to the Loony Rag, the Express. And the Loony Rag, the Express has Kate's relief at being in remission from cancer. I'm sure it is a relief. I'm sure it is. But nobody fucking cares. Wee woman 2 doors down from me is in remission for cancer. Where's the press? Now, when we talk about cultural trolling here, folks, this is what we call imperialism. As we know, 66% of the people in Scotland want rid of the fucking monarchy. 72% of the young people down in England want rid of the fucking monarchy. And we don't really give a shit about the monarchy, and we have not done since 1323. What happened in 1323? I'll stop sharing this now, as I explain to you what happened in 1323. In 1323, the Vatican returned the Declaration of Arbroath sign, where the monarch of Scotland had actually caused a real stooshy by transferring his sovereignty to the people. Now, people say, why would that cause a stooshy? Well, it caused a theological stooshy, because according to what we're told, kings, queens, and emperors and that are born to rule over us, and they are anointed by God. So the big problem for the Vatican at the time was, how do you anoint a whole fucking people? Because that would make us God's own people. If our monarch was anointed by God and he's handed his sovereignty to us, so the monarch anointed us all. So it's cultural trolling because the monarchy has had very little fucking relevance in our life. It's been there, but very little relevance in our life. Since at least the Treaty of Union, but going all the way back to 1323, they have been just a figurehead here and they mean nothing. But this is imperialism being rammed down my throat, and that's because there's a theme in every single paper today here in Scotland. And that's all about Kate being in remission, as if we give a fuck. Doesn't even enter our mind. I'm more concerned with the wee woman in the corner than what I'm with Kate and her brats and her husband in their gilded cage in the duchy in Cornwall or wherever the fuck they are, renting people substandard accommodation. Anyway, the Sun goes in the same story. It's a relief to be in remission. Who gives a fuck? The Times goes in a more important story, but the byline is Kate's happy to be in remission. But the main story is Tulip Sadiq resigns over links to corruption in Bangladesh. And apart from the Kate story, the other story there is there's going to be West Coast mayhem for passengers as they upgrade the West Coast Main Line over the next couple of years. The Scotsman leads on an article penned by Kate Forbes, and the headline is Chancellor No Mandate for Austerity. And Kate reveals cancer in remission. That's the two headlines. The imperial shit and a bit of truth, actually. And Kate Forbes is right when she pens this article in the Scotsman. Rachel Reeves, Keir Starmer, they do not have a mandate for austerity. They were voted in to put an end to bloody austerity. But here we are, with austerity on fucking stilts. And I mean austerity on stilts. And so you know, folks, there's a mini budget coming in March where the mantra is cut, cut, cut. Right, the Lancet has brave trot transplant plea. I need a heart to go home. And this is a story of a child who's stuck in hospital because they're waiting on a donor heart, a 3-year-old toddler. Sad, but the hospital's the safest place for it to be. And hearts are rare enough for grown-ups. For a 3-year-old, let's hope things work out for the wee one. Yeah? Right, let's move on. The Telegraph has, I'll put it up. Where are we? The Telegraph has PM to pay damages to Jerry Adams. So I went, the PM's to pay damages to Jerry Adams? What the fuck did the PM do to Jerry Adams? So I went and had a look at the story and the background to it. Nothing to do with the Prime Minister at all. It's us, the taxpayer, who will be paying compensation to Jerry Adams for the way he was treated during the Troubles. So, another headline there is about Sadiq having to resign our anti-corruption in Bangladesh. And then, of course, we've got the troll picture of Kate. As I say, it runs right through all the papers today. Every bloody one of them. With the exception of the Star, actually. And, of course, it's not in the National either, because the National realises that the Royals are of no significance. I see we're all mentioning the table cat. Get used to it, folks. That's where he lives, on my table. You see hello to him. But he's keeping an eye on all you bams in the naughty step. Right, let's move on. As I say, but that headline was misleading. It's not Keir Starmer to pay compensation to Jerry Adams. It's us, the taxpayer. Okay. The Daily Fail has. What's the Daily Fail got for us today? We'll see if I put it up. I probably didn't, actually. No, I didn't. I put the Times up instead. Okay, but we'll get to the Times. The Daily Fail has another Starmer shambles. One lame duck down, the other lame duck it talks about in the article is Rachel Reeves. So that's an interesting one. And the Eye tells us that there's going to be a mini budget in March. And it also tells us that Rachel Reeves is searching for growth. So the actual headline is Reeves search for growth and ready to cut spending in March mini budget amid Treasury turmoil. And of course there is Treasury turmoil. The gilts market's off its fucking chump at this point in time, which is whacked the government's purse. But as I say, there's a mini budget coming. Last time we had mini budget, we had a crash. Our autumn statement and the full budget were October, November, December, January. economy's crashed, it's on its arse. On its arse. So now she's going to have to go back and cut. And as Kate Forbes rightly points out in the Scotsman, she has no fucking mandate for austerity because they've only voted in austerity. And as we all know, austerity isn't necessary. What is necessary is to open up the purse and start investing in public sector. When you invest in public sector, the money flows over into the private sector, because what the public sector does is procure stuff on behalf of the public. So to spend money would not damage the treasury in the slightest. It would probably improve the balance sheet. Because what happens is when the public sector spends, the private sector flourishes. This is stuff isn't fucking rocket science, folks. But what we do have running the economy, and it has been so since Thatcher's day and before, are a bunch of fucking economic illiterates. Absolute illiterates. Need to tax the rich for wealth redistribution and to invest in public services, and you will watch your economy grow as the public services go into overdrive procuring, because that's what they do. They say we have a bunch of absolute economic fucking illiterates at the helm, and there has been for as long as Davy's been alive. As long as I've been alive. Right. The National has, but we always put the National up, so we shall. The National has an exclusive interview with Humza Yousaf. And Humza's challenging Elon Musk to a debate. He's turning his attention to the global stage. And he also leathers into David Lammy for his shameful meeting with the Israeli government. All done on the quiet, by the way. All done in the quiet. And we don't get to know what the fuck it was he was talking about. Now, the BBC is also accused of cultural imperialism. Well, we can spread that out to the fucking press. The mainstream, the print press as well, with their nonsense with Kate today. The Scottish papers know that we are not in the fucking slightest bit interested. Shall we see who today's legend is? Hello, can I help you?
Hiya, Uncle David.
Yes, darling.
Would you be able to take me to doctors for 11:45?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Because I'm just...
I don't need to hear anything about it, darling. Just be out here for 11:45. I'm broadcasting now, okay?
Right then.
Right, bye.
Bye.
So it appears today's legend's my niece. Right. Anyway, BBC accused of cultural imperialism. Film director tells broadcaster it must end breathtaking arrogance towards Scottish talent. Well, actually, when it comes to Scotland in the mainstream media, we barely appear. All the broadcast companies are Anglo-centric. Most of the programmes we get here in Scotland are Anglo-centric. And when a Scots actor does appear on mainstream television, they're normally portrayed as a drunk, a junkie, a thief, or something along their lines. And of course, there's a Pogies SNP, a lead of nearly 10 points over Labour, that's not enough. And Dugdale hits out at discussing coverage of Sturgeon's marriage breakdown. So Kezia Dugdale isn't happy with the coverage of the breakdown in Nicola Sturgeon's marriage, and to be fair, never was happy. I was also not impressed with the crap coming out on social media, the conspiracy theory nutters. You know, it's because she's a lesbian, marriage of convenience, all that sort of crap. To be fair, I don't care one way or another. I mean, nobody gave a fuck about David Mundell's 30-year marriage of convenience, did they? Nobody gave a shite about it. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? That was a national headline today. The Metro has mere imperialist trolling. Kate returns to cancer hospital to say thank you. I thought it was a general hospital she went to. Didn't know it specialised in only cancer care. But as I say, that's cultural fucking trolling. They know that people here don't want to hear anything about these puppets in gilded cages. They're just not interested. And of course, we have the Star. What's the Star got for us today? Well, the Star's got a typical Star headline, but as you guys know, I haven't covered the Times. Hold on, we'll need the Times up first. Let's see what the bloody Times has got to say for itself. Shall we? Passengers warned of West Coast Line chaos. Choice Sadiq and Princess of Wales. So basically the same as a Telegraph. So we'll put that down and shut it down. And that may be quiet my computer doing actually, because I've had over 20 windows opened at one point there. And Alistair, you're right, it is boffin time, but it's no boffins a day. You know how Davey likes a boffin, but this one is just as good. This one is a typical Star headline. It's what we're looking for when we look for the Star. An absolute nonsense headline, so let's put it up. And the Star of Scotland apparently has a story about furry beasts in England, funny enough. And it's fury as government turns its nose up over furry favourites. And it's keep your filthy hands off Tory beavers. Now, this is a story of a reintroduction of this particular creature into England. Don't need to worry about it because it will spread south to Scotland. They will be reintroduced whether they like it or no. But apparently Labour have snubbed the idea of reintroducing them because it was a Tory idea. And this is also typical of the Star. I don't know if any of you have noticed, but there's a fucking spelling mistake in that headline. And that is, when you're talking about species, like when you're talking about a person's name, there should be a capital at the beginning of beavers. Because we're talking about a species. But that's a Star for you, Brilliant stuff. Anyway, apparently a Whose Line Is It Anyway Star dies aged 65, no idea what that's about. And Enders Barry pushed downstairs by killer ghosts. Don't even know who fucking Enders Barry is. I'm not quite sure what Enders is. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you don't watch television. But that's a cracking headline in the Star, isn't it? Keep your filthy hands off Tory beavers. Couldn't they pay me to touch a Tory? Never mind a beaver. They've got big teeth. Sorry, Charlie Cat, didn't mean to disturb you there. Sorry, dear boy. You go back to sleep. Don't you worry about it. So, that's the papers for you today, folks. Beavers will no move. Ali, they haven't got any down there. This is about reintroducing them. But I get your point. The beavers will move to Scotland from England because there's no clean water in England. Maybe they're hoping the beavers got all the shite out of their water. No, I think Ali's right. Well, hi, Cara. You're welcome. Anyway, that's it for the day, folks. As you can see, the table cat's going to become a fixture. They'll be there more often. Sometimes they'll try and climb down my lap. I'll walk round about them. Just one of these things. They're not like dogs. They just climb over you, these cats. Whereas Buster was a wee bit big to go on my knee. It wasn't if I want to try and right enough, but he was a wee bit big to go on my knee. Anyway, as I say, that's it for the day, guys. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all again. Because there's always nonsense in the press. And now I'm off to TikTok to talk about cultural imperialism. Because I pick a story generally in the press and I talk about that for a couple of minutes on TikTok each day. Because apparently I'm supposed to go on TikTok. Everybody tell me I need to be on TikTok. So we'll see anybody who's a talker or a ticker or whatever the fuck you want to call yourselves. Who there? Once I've recorded the video and uploaded it. Alright, bye for now, folks. Oh, sorry, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and if you really must, because I know that first about when it's an Indie Truck Davy programme, share. Anyway, I'm off to TikTok to talk about cultural imperialism. Bye the now.